there are some very exciting and actionable scientific findings that I'd like to share with you. And this comes from 2 major studies involving thousands of subjects, which found that children and adults who spend more than 2 hours a day out of doors have a much lower incidence of myopia, also called nearsightedness, than those that do not do that. Now, the mechanism for this is actually pretty well understood. It's long been known that if people view things up close for too many hours per day, especially during development, the eyeball lengthens. And when the eyeball lengthens, what happens is the lens of the eye can no longer focus the visual image directly onto the neural retina, which is the light sensing tissue that lines the back of the eye like a pie crust. As a consequence, the visual image lands in front of the neural retina, and that's what nearsightedness is. It also causes, of course, deficits in our ability to see at a distance. Now, what's exciting about these new studies is it's been pretty well established that if you look at things too close for too many hours per day, you become myopic. But these studies support the idea that even just being outside reading, even outside on your computer or on your phone, although ideally also looking at things at a distance, can perhaps even offset or reverse myopia. Now, if you have very severe myopia, it's unlikely that just getting outside for 2 hours a day and getting natural light in your eyes is going to reverse your myopia. But for children, it's very important that they get outside for at least 2 hours per day. So much so, in fact, that there are now technologies, in particular made by Apple, that are going to quantify the number of hours that one spends out of doors each day, specifically for this purpose of trying to offset myopia in developing children and for potentially reversing and offsetting myopia in adults as well. So the take-home message here is very clear. We are all on our phones, we are all on computers, we are all looking at screens, and we are all spending a lot of time indoors. And we don't want to disparage that. We need to be in school, we need to work, we need to do things indoors. But anytime you can take that work out of doors, and in addition to that, anytime you can get out of doors and look at things at a distance, horizons, things beyond 3 to 10 feet in front of you, you are doing yourself a great service in terms of your eye health. And the last thing I want to mention is that when we talk about eye health, we're really talking about brain health. The neural retina, that light sensing tissue at the back of your eye, is brain. It is, well, really 2 pieces of brain that got squished out of your cranial vault during development by a very specific genetic program. They are 2 little pieces of brain. They are the only pieces of brain that are outside your cranial vault, in normal, healthy people, that is. And you want to keep that neural tissue healthy. And one of the best ways to do that is to get out of doors and get out of doors and get natural light into your eyes each day as much as possible. Never stare at the sun or any light so bright that it's painful to look at. Use that blinking to protect your eyes. However, if you can get away with not wearing sunglasses, then do that. And some of you will have sensitive eyes and you'll need to wear sunglasses. And certainly if you're going to do your sunlight viewing in the morning, as I suggest everyone do to set your circadian rhythm for more daytime focus, alertness, and elevated mood, that's well established in the scientific research, as well as improving your sleep by getting that morning sunlight viewing. You probably don't need to wear sunglasses for that, because when the sun is low in the sky, so-called low solar angle sunlight, it's not going to have as many of those UVA rays that can potentially be damaging to the eye. Now, in the middle of the day when the sun is overhead and when it's very, very bright out, if you find that you really need to squint, I have pretty sensitive eyes, so I often find I need to squint, as I'm doing now, in order to protect my eyes. That's fine. And if you need sunglasses, wear sunglasses. But insofar as you can avoid using sunglasses, and insofar as you can avoid being indoors, get outside, get natural light into your eyes. Now, final point, which is that these studies that explore the relationship between getting out of doors and limiting myopia, or maybe even reversing myopia, have not yet parsed whether or not it's the natural light that people are getting out of doors or whether or not it's viewing things at a distance. And it's probably both. And there are reasons to believe how this comes about. It has to do with a particular light sensing opsin that exists in the ciliary margin of the eye and some other cells like melanopsin, intrinsically photosensitive ganglion cells, a bunch of geeky stuff that we can talk about and we will talk about. I had a long sit down with the chair of ophthalmology at Stanford University School of Medicine, who's a medical doctor and PhD, who offered an incredible number. I counted over 25 specific recommendations for eye health and brain health. That episode should be out in a few weeks. But meanwhile, if you're a kid, especially, but also if you're an adult, get out of doors at least 2 hours a day, even if you have to take your work out of doors. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below this post. And as always, thank you for your interest in science.